Okay, cool. So what we're going to do first is go through some hot takes. Guys, feel free to be part of this discussion. So these are hot takes that I pulled from the Discord. Let's move on to the first hot take, which is mine. Deathcore gets old faster than metalcore can. You know, I do think like the past few years of deathcore, there's been some really exciting things in terms of the music being much more progressive in terms of like bringing in different genres, black metal, progressive music, and also even like metalcore with the cleans and stuff. But really, deathcore doesn't really like the idea of expanding its genre too much. Metalcore, on the other hand, is much more like liberal with its accepting of a whole bunch of different genres, right? You know, you can listen to Loathe, like shoegaze, progressive metalcore, or you can listen to Kill Switch Engage or something. Because of that, to me, metalcore is much more exciting genre, even though I love like deathcore for the heavies. But to me, metalcore will probably last a lot longer, only because it is much more accepting of doing a whole bunch of different things, and because of that, it won't get older. Progressive music is too slow for me to find enjoyable. I'm hooked on the first 30 seconds of a song usually. I can't wait 3 minutes for the song to kick in. It's just boring to me. So this sounds like a take from someone who doesn't listen to progressive music. You know, I think a lot of people assume progressive music is like Dream Theater. It's like 15 minutes long, crazy instrumentals. You know, they're just long journeys. And, you know, typically that is the stereotype of prog music. But, you know, it's not just that. I think progressive music, what a lot of people don't realize, it's more of an idea. It's a music that is not inside a box. Really, you know, it's like always thinking outside the box. It could be, you know, of course, like songs with no structure, songs that are really long for sure, but it can also be shorter songs. It can be songs under 5 minutes, and it's more just accepting of a whole bunch of different ideas and genres, and being experimental, but also not being stuck to a certain sound. And that's the whole idea behind progressive music. So, you know, let's search up some bands here. Or how about so sure, like what I was saying, you know, there's bands like Dream Theater that take their time, and for sure, so many other bands, right? But that's not really what progressive music is. That's a certain sound that even sometimes I don't love all the time, but progressive music is much more than just 15-minute long songs, right? So recently, Alpha Wolf got into some trouble because they tweeted out, "Crowdkilling sucks. We like all our fans to actually have a fun time when watching us perform. Take your man baby ass out to the fucking drywall exhibition or some shit. We don't have time for it." So I think they got some heat, especially for the second half of this comment, because it's a little bit more aggressive. So with this one, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit conflicted, because when it comes to specifically hardcore music, which crowdkilling originates from, there's something inherently tribal about the music. It brings out some sort of aggression and energy that it forces you to move, right? So when you actually go to a show, the mosh pit is almost as necessary as the music, right? You can't have people staying still. It just doesn't work like that. That's like me. I'm the person that actually, you know, will go to a show and mosh pit, and I'll like sing and scream the words out and like jump around and stuff. I like to get the crowd involved, and it makes it more fun for me if the crowd's involved. But I'm not going to lie, crowd killers can be really fucking annoying. I hate some crowd killers for sure. You know, I think crowd killing isn't the problem. I think it's crowd killers that are the problem. Like certain crowd killers, like, you know, there's ones that, you know, they're throwing their arms around, they stay put, that's fine. But there's other douchebag meatheads that like target people. They will find someone in the crowd that's smaller than them because, you know, these man children are insecure, so they'll throw fists and stuff, and those people can fuck right off. Those people are the ones that ruin shows. No one goes to a concert saying like, "Oh, I can't wait to like go in the pit and like get punched by a crowd killer." The only people that are looking forward to crowd killing are the crowd killers themselves. So really, most of the people there aren't really excited to, you know, meet the crowd killers, you know, except hardcore shows. Hardcore shows are kind of the exception, and that's mainly because that's where it originates from, right? But if you're going to a metalcore show or something, like, I don't know, man, like a lot of people are there just to rock out. They want to get close to the band. If they're getting elbowed in the back of the head, I got elbowed in the eye from an Architect show. That pissed me off. That really pissed me off. That came out of nowhere. So yeah, it can really ruin a show. But you know, sometimes accidents just happen. But the point is, I think the problem really relies on certain people. And crowd killing really brings out some shitty people. Again, it's the meathead douchebag types that want to throw fists around. I don't know. I'm a little bit conflicted about this one because I think crowd killing is part of the tribal energy from the music. It makes you want to like throw down, but there are certain people that take it too far that really ruin the shows for a lot of people. Hot take. This year so far has been pretty weak for releases compared to last. This one I'm actually not too sure about. So 2021 was an insane year. I don't remember the first half of 2021 being that great. I remember struggling. I did like Foo Fighters, Darko US in January. I'm like, man, who else do I check out and stuff? Whereas this January, we had Enterprise Earth, we had Shadow of Intent, Fit for an Autopsy, Under Oath. A couple months after that, like February and March, Rolo Tomasi was really good. Persephone, progressive metal, that was really good. Today we're checking out Health, which I can't wait for. Health is really good. I don't know if I really agree with this. Black Sabbath, Pupil Slicer. Oh yeah, that's my fucking jam right there. That's cool that they feature that. Papa Roach. Oh, that's just greatest hits. Papa Roach came out with music this year. No, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this at all. We are in a bit of a slump right now, I think, in terms of music, but January was very busy, man. Hot take. I have not enjoyed a single one of these re-released singles just adding a guest vocal. The song wasn't written with that in mind and always falls flat for me. I can see where this is coming from. So like, you know, a song, I don't know, like Holy Roller with Rio from Crystal Lake, you know. I like it when they go a little bit more adventurous. So Fit for Hurricane and Silent Planet switched vocal duties for their tracks, right? They did the entire song with their voice. They're not the most mind-blowing thing because it's just like a reimagined version. It's like, I don't know, a movie or even like a video game or something. It's like, it won't be as special as the first initial product, right? But a re-release is essentially just marketing. That's what it is. It's just a marketing tool that works, and it continues to get the band into playlists and into the media and stuff, continues to get that conversation going about the band when they keep releasing music. Yeah, exactly. Collaboration, it's marketing. It's just marketing. That's all it is. In my opinion, Landmvrks vocalist is kind of a jack of all trades, but master of none. When I think of my favorite cleans, highs, lows, rapping on Visage, etc., he is never in the picture, but he does all them proficient enough. Flow, he's all over the place, right? I think his cleans are fine. They're good. They're not the greatest cleans in the scene, but at least he can do them pretty well. His gutturals are always exciting in the music. They're always shocking, and they always elevate the music. That being said, they can seem like a trick, right? Or something. They can be like I wouldn't say like a one-trick pony, but it's something to create shock value within the song when he does gutturals. But his rapping is also like really stellar. But I'm not into the rap scene, so I can't really comment on whether he's like amazing or not. So I kind of agree with this, but I just don't know if this metaphor perfectly applies. And what I mean by that is that he's a jack of all trades, but he's a master of variety. That's what I think. I don't think he's a master at all of them, but I think he's a master of variety, which is very hard for a lot of vocalists to have, and that's what sets them apart, right? There's some vocalists that are just masters at being a screamer or just gutturals, and there's other vocalists that are just masters at cleans, but this dude can do everything, and that's what really sets them apart. So like, sure, he's not like the most amazing at each one of them, but he is a master of variety. The new Bad Omens is the beginning of bands bridging the gap between electronic and techno to metal/rock. For those that don't know, these are all from the Discord, and a lot of people were replying back to this one, including me. Pretty much, I disagree with this completely. Why I disagree with this is that because the gap between, or metal rock between electronic music has been happening for probably like 20 years already. That gap's already been done. Linkin Park's already done it. You know, I mentioned something that's a little bit more on the progressive side of things. So let me see here. You know, this is a whole different sound than Bad Omens, but you know, this is a progressive metal band that mixes electronic music.
Let's get fucking rowdy!
Oh yeah, Enter Shikari. Enter Shikari is an amazing example. People were mentioning Sleep Token. Sleep Token is, you know, mixing electronic and pop. Maybe where this is stemming from is that they're bridging the gap of pop R&B style electronics with modern rock and metal. That kind of gap. So the Bad Omens album sounds like The Weeknd gone metalcore a little bit, and it doesn't even seem like a metalcore record. It has breakdowns, except for Artificial Suicide. It's really not that much of a metal record. It's more of a rock album. But I guess like where he's coming from is that, yeah, it's a little bit more on the pop R&B side and modern electronic stylings, right? But that gap between metal and electronic music has already been done for many years. Here's one hot take. As much as I love modern deathcore, when it comes to certain bands, I wish it'd go back to the days of As Blood Runs Black, Blind Witness, and early Breakdown Sanity. Like, bro, those albums are still fire. This is a good one for me because I never really cared for the old Myspace deathcore days. It was way too reliant on zeros. The tones were too much, and that raw production sound I never cared for. When it came to the old deathcore stuff, I personally liked old Veil and Maya and old Born Osiris because it was a little bit more technically proficient. There's a lot more lead work on the guitar and stuff, and that's where I kind of lean to. But also mentioning these albums, okay, As Blood Runs Black, they're pretty fucking sick. I've only heard a few songs through this channel and I really dig them. It reminds me of Bring Me the Horizon, Count Your Blessing kind of stuff, but I think that's Bring Me the Horizon's worst album. There's a hot take right there, I'll say that. Blind Witness, they're kind of more a metalcore band, aren't they? I think there will be a resurgence of this style of music. I can only assume that because look what's happening to metalcore. We're getting a resurgence of the emo stuff and the MySpace days sound, like See You Space Cowboy, A Static Dress. Those bands are really like bringing back the emo revival, and I can only assume later on deathcore bands will bring back that old MySpace kind of sound. But also I do think deathcore lately has been really pushing boundaries and it's making deathcore more relevant than ever. Well, I don't know as ever, because with Suicide Silence, I think that could have been the peak in terms of commercial success, but I do think deathcore is really changing it up lately. So if they can bring in the old style as well, that'd be pretty fucking sick. All right, kind of a hot take. I feel like the smaller or unrecognized bands are going out and bringing the heat with their music, and big popular bands are just out there playing it safe. With the exception of Whitechapel, I haven't really been floored by anything put out by your more popular bands. I totally agree with this. And that's how I feel when I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream, that like we already listen to a niche style of music, and I do think a lot of you guys are in the same boat. I do think this community right here, we listen to a niche style of music, but even our taste sometimes is more niche. Where I'm getting at is that, you know, our niche styles are usually from these unrecognized bands, from bands that aren't very popular. And I think people at their most creative and artistic and are when they're young. You know, when they're 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever, like very early adult age, I think is people at their most ambitious. They're not tied down to, you know, making money and stuff. They're really trying to find their identity and what they want to do in life. And because of that, they're overly ambitious. They're trying to do new, exciting things and set themselves apart. And because of that, I do think young bands are the ones that are constantly pushing the envelope. And that's why I'm still always checking out the new bands, right? I'm always like trying to find what's like new and good and share it with like my followers, right? So because of that, I always think the young bands are the most creative. And when it gets to a band that's already, you know, pretty well off. Yeah, the music is not as interesting, and I do think it's because a lot of these bigger bands, where they are in life is a little bit different when they're younger, right? So they're focused on, you know, money and trying to make sure that the band is stable enough because, you know, they have a mortgage, they have family possibly, and because of that, they're a little bit not willing to take big risk. And if you take a big risk and, you know, your whole band does a whole different sound, it could really jeopardize the band completely. So bands usually do play it a little bit safe, and I do agree Whitechapel is a good example of a band that's, you know, trying to do something different. And it is risky. What? Sorry, I don't know if you can hear my dog. Quiet boy! Damn it, he lost my train of thought, man. Shit. So he comes in here. All right. So yeah, no, like the older bands are definitely like really good too. And like, I'm not saying like, you know, they're all like bad and younger bands are the best. You know, some bands just have an amazing sound that is always going to be constantly good. Yeah, I do think young bands and are the most ambitious, and because of that, they're the most exciting to listen to. And I do think that older bands will take influence from stuff that is up and coming and use it to their new music, which makes it even harder for these younger bands to really set themselves apart in the scene. They constantly have to evolve. This album, Not Language, is the best Contortionist album. Also, the Contortionist is the best progressive metal band of this generation, even better than Loathe and Animals as Leaders. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this completely. You know, when it comes to the Contortionist, honestly, Exoplanet is my jam. I think, you know, songs like Flourish are absolutely incredible. I do love the energy and the intensity with that record, and also it's pretty experimental. It's honestly almost like a Between the Buried and Me record gone deathcore. That's how I felt. And then, you know, when they made Language was really good, man. I think Language is really set themselves apart in the scene, and it's taking Michael Lessard's old band, Last Chance to Reason, I think is their name. And mixing it with the Contortionist, so it became like almost like a new band. Very soft, ambient, but very technical and complex at the same time. Their next record, Clairvoyant, is a really vibey record. It's beautiful at times. Personally, I'm not going to lie, I find it a little bit dull in comparison to their other releases. So I don't actually listen to Clairvoyant as much as Language or Exoplanet. Exoplanet the most. But you know, there's so many other progressive bands out there. Obviously, Between the Buried and Me, which Contortionist is heavily influenced by. But then there's also Periphery too, and then Caligula's Horse, Haken, The Deer Hunter. Well, they're not progressive metal. They're just progressive. But there's so many bands that are really good, and Contortionist, I do think the Contortionist is one of the best. If they're the best, I don't know. And I don't know who is the best right now. So I can't say this band is better than this band, because I don't think there is an actual answer to that. And music is subjective anyway, so it doesn't matter. But that's a very fair opinion to have. I do think Contortionist is doing some exciting things, and they got to make a damn new record, man. It's been way too long. I got the hottest take. This is the best community on the planet. Whoever's not on the Discord, feel free to join the Discord. It's a great ass community. All right, guys, that's what we got for the hot takes. So now